Watch out, watch out. We got an emergency. Holy smokes. Caitlin just said there was a massive swarm of bees. Hold on, hang on there with me. Camera's not functioning. There we go. Holy smokes. Alright guys. I don't know where these bees came from. They shouldn't be from ours hive. But look at this swarm of bees moving in. Bee swarms are pretty chill, but I'm gonna grab my jacket here. I am completely surrounded by bees. And they're all moving into the barn, which is not convenient. I gotta act fast. I gotta see if I can find the queen. This barn used to have bees in it years and years ago, and there's old comb in there. So I gotta go grab some bee stuff real quick and see if I can't get this swarm. I gotta look for the queen, see if I can find the queen. I gotta do something. Alright, I'm gonna get the smoker going here. Hopefully, if this doesn't work, I really don't want to make it. I'm guessing the queen's already in the barn because they're all just kind of getting after it. But if this doesn't work, I got a little bit of a secret ingredient here called Honey Be Gone. That smells really bad. I don't know what's in it. I guess I could read the instructions. But the bees don't like it. But there's still a bunch in the air. But I got to get that queen out of there, or they're going to move in, and then we're going to have to tear that thing apart, and then we're going to have to get them in. We got to get them in that trap before they make up shop here. I put a little bit of that in there. I don't know if that's helping or hurting. All right. Let's see if we can't smoke them out. I need to get a queen trap, just in case. I'm just gonna smoke the heck out of this. We gotta get the queen out of here. If they start getting too aggressive, then I'm gonna have to put my suit on. Might have lost my smoke. I really need to move the trap here to flat ground so they can climb up into it. There we go. Come on, start marching up in there. That's the problem, this concrete isn't very level. And I don't know how many bees are already in here. And I've lost my smoke, so I'm gonna have to relight. I mean, it's working to the fact that they don't want out, or they don't want in the box. They are coming or out of the barn, but they're not really. I've always wanted to try this. How you keep a swarm from landing. They say to beat two metal things together as loud as you can and it should drop a swarm. So. They say it works with like trash can lids. I don't know if it's helping. That was a myth. I'm a buster. We're here for science. They don't look like they're headed into the barn as much as they were a second ago. I'm guessing the queen came out because there's probably no comb in there. But I really want them to settle either on the ground, on my box. I need them to settle somewhere besides on the tree branch or somewhere up high. I don't care if it's on the car because I can get them off the car. I'm out of smoke again. Hate on the metal lid. I think there's a lot more here low to the ground than there was a second ago. Huh? Yeah. There's definitely a lot more. Are they going into the box? Do what? Are they really? Oh yeah, we just got to get a couple to commit to the box. Maybe I'll beat the metal trash can again. Maybe I need to do it not right next to the box. But they are coming down. Maybe this isn't a myth. I think we're out of the barn now, for the most part. Got a little bit of smoke going. I really wish I had a full frame of wax. A lot of these bees are on the side of the box fanning, which means they're letting off a nasing off pheromone, which tells everybody else to come down here. Now there's still a lot in the air. The problem is if they have a virgin queen, I may not be able to tell which one she is, if she's on the ground already or on the box. I'd like to see them just really start marching in. But I think that metal noise brought them down quite a bit. Like I said, they're no longer in the barn, which they were going in the barn pretty heavily. There's a pile of bees over here. I don't see the queen. A lot of them have lifted back up. I may have to try to get them to come back down. March into the box. A lot of these bees are back airborne, which makes me believe the queen is still flying. So, plug your ears. All right, a lot of them have come back down again. They were up high, now they're coming back down. I really want them to start diving into that box. I really just want to see the queen. It's crazy you can sit here and stand in thousands and thousands of bees and not even worry about getting stung. I have a little bit of Swarm Commander. Let me just do a little bit on the box. This is a swarm lure called Swarm Commander. I'm just gonna do one little squirt there. It smells like bees. They're probably swarming because you can't see behind us, but there's what looks like a storm coming in. And bees like to swarm right before a storm. So a few bees looking back at this barn. I really just want to see that queen. But they're really fanning pretty heavy now. All the bees on the ground are fanning. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on the box. Maybe they'll start marching into that entrance, collectively gathering on the box. But they've substantially come down quite a bit in the last minute and a half here. Again, they're piling into this hole now here. See if you can come in here a little closer. I think I just found the queen right here. Yep. Alright. Looks like a virgin queen. I was wondering why all those bees were piled up right there. Please don't sting me. You see her? I don't know if you guys can see her in there, but we found the queen. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull one of these frames here just so I can set this right there. I'm going to move this frame in a little bit. So, as soon as I put this queen in there, they're just going to pile in there. I'm going to close this lid and just wait for the march. Yeah, they're just going to... If you could smell the pheromone coming off these bees, is unbelievable. But now all these bees are going to tell everybody, they're going to let off a pheromone that says the queen is in the box, and it'll be a mad dash. Every bee in the sky in the next few minutes will be on or in this box. But I could tell there was a pile of bees sitting over here on the ground, and usually means that's where the queen is, if all the bees are bundling on top of that queen. And I caught a quick glimpse of her, put her in that cage, got her in the box,
You can't get in fast enough.
and now it's just a race to see who can get in the box fast enough.
Isn't it so nice that you married a guy that can catch bees for you?
Yep, that's right.
Look at them two goobers.
That doesn't come around very often.
Gotta call the...
Better hang on to that guy.
That's right.
How many red-headed beekeepers are there in the world? I bet there aren't very many.
Just one good-looking one.
Well, no, that's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
Well, we have a predicament. Obviously, we have a bunch of bees down here in the box, but we also have into a branch over here. So they're really, I don't know how well you guys can see them. They're starting to pile on a branch there, which is, if they all land on that branch, that's fine because I can reach it. I just don't want them up 40 feet up in the air where I can't reach them. But they're starting to light there. There's still a bunch of activity over in this box. I talked to Jorge here a second ago with Napa Bees, and he said a swarm this big probably has 2 different queens, or multiple queens. So there's a good chance I still have that queen. Before a queen, or before a swarm, or before a group of bees swarms, they'll drain the queen down smaller, so she's more flight conditioned. And those queen cages I put her in are made for a good fat mated queen. And if they slimmed her down too much, she might have been able to slip through that crack on that box. But I'm looking at the box now, and there's still a bunch of bees going into it. I mean, I cracked the lid up here too. Definitely not as many as there was 10 minutes ago. But there are just bees everywhere here on the farm. This is probably one of the biggest swarms I've ever had the privilege to try to work or be in the middle of. Good thing is I have multiple boxes in the garage. If they do split up into 2 different swarms, then that'd be nice. If one queen goes into that swarm trap, another queen and half the bees land in that tree, I can get them into a box of their own, as well as this box here. Then I can really just have 2 whole swarms, because there's easily enough bees in the air right now to fill out a 10-frame box, or 2 10-frame boxes. This is a big swarm. So yeah, welcome to 5 Acre Farms. I'm Luke. This is the chaos that happens on a day-to-day basis. You just never know what's going to happen on the farm. I posted a bee video today, and I wasn't going to post another bee video for another couple days or a week or whatever, but here we are catching swarms in June. And yeah, so I got Caitlin doing chores, which was my job until she started screaming saying there was a swarm moving into the barn. And I've put a bunch of that honeybee gone in the barn to try to keep them from wanting in there. But I don't have this stuff as a squirt bottle, so I'm just sticking a little piece of hose down in here. I bought this for trap outs, for getting swarms out of trees. I'm just going to stick this hose in the barn and hopefully keep them from wanting in there. There's one little spot right here that I can see bees wanting in. I'm going to get a good portion of this. They really don't like the smell of this stuff. So I'm gonna kind of soak this down a little bit. Keep them from wanting to go in that. But there's quite a few bees coming back over here, so maybe they aren't going to go to that tree, because they're starting to move back over here to the box, which is crazy. This is the best part about swarms. You can literally be in the middle of thousands and thousands and thousands of bees and not have to worry about getting stung. They're starting to land on me. I don't want them to think I'm something to land on, so I'm gonna get out of the way here. I know this is just a video clip of me walking back and forth, but it looks like they've abandoned the tree branch. There's very few bees over here at the tree branch. But I'm going to keep an eye on these guys for a while. But they're coming back to this box. Hopefully. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm trying to look into the screen of the camera. See all these bees. But it's just an absolute cloud of bees all coming down into this box. And you can tell what looks like a storm coming, and which is usually what sets off a swarm. Hot days, late afternoons, right before a storm, bees swarm. So we're gonna sit here and watch these bees for a while and hopefully get them moved into the box. George was saying that there's a good chance that Jorge, I call him George, but there's a good chance that these are not my bees. We just got into the bees last night. Nothing looked like it was in swarm condition, no swarm cells, and these are definitely not our bees. We don't have a box with this many bees. I don't think anyway. But he said there's a good chance that these bees knew about my sunflower field. My sunflower field's only a couple hundred yards away from me right now. And I drove by today and it looked like there was about 15 that have started blooming. He said these feral bees, if they know that that swarm is there, or that bloom is there, that they'll just swarm closer to wherever that bloom is going to be. So there's a good chance that these wild bees knew that the bloom was coming here in the next week, and they just picked up shop, knew it was a good time to swarm, started coming this way. So cool. I'll check back in here in a few minutes. There's a lot of bees coming out of the box and flying around. So I wonder if that box isn't big enough. So I went and got a bigger box. All right, bees. There's plenty big of a box here for you guys to move into. I'm gonna crack this lid and see if that queen's still in the cage. If she is, then I'm gonna put her. There's a bunch of bees in here. Yeah, she's still in here. So that's good. I just don't think, I think this swarm is so big that they aren't recognizing this as a big enough home. So I'm going to take a frame here that has some comb on it. The rest is just a bunch of starter strips. But there's a queen in that box. Like I said, there may be more than one queen, but there's just not a ton of bees in this box right now. I think they're all airborne. A lot of them are going back to that tree over there. But since that queen is there, they're going to know pretty quick here that that queen is not in that box. So I'm going to go ahead and put this lid back on, or this lid on here. And bees should transition out of that box into that box. And hopefully, I wish I had a full frame of brood comb, because then they could just really pile in there. But as long as that queen stays in that little trap, a good chunk of these bees will move in. They're already starting to get on there. They're starting to realize the queen's not in that box anymore. They're getting airborne. There's still thousands and thousands over here, this tree. Let me come over here. They just weren't liking that swarm trap, but they're back over here at this tree. Like they're starting to ball up on that branch. Right there. Which is fine, because if they ball up on right there, I can reach them with a ladder. But now that we got this big box here, or this 10 frame Langstroth box, and I got the queen in it, I think we should be in business. Like I said, I wish I had a frame brood. I could go rob a frame out of one of my hives, but I think as it gets closer to dark, they'll start looking for a location. Even if they do land in that tree, I'll let them settle down for the night, and then I'll probably grab another box, Langstroth box, shake them into that box, and then we'll have 2 Langstroth boxes with queens. I'm assuming there's another queen in that tree over there. But we'll find out here in the next 20 minutes. As you can see in that time lapse, it looks like they're starting to commit to the Langstroth box. I think it's because it's a 10 frame, it's bigger than the swarm trap. There's not a ton of bees in the air. They gave up on the tree. Really bad storm's coming. Hopefully it misses us. Supposedly there's some pretty heavy winds. But I think we're just gonna let them chill here for the night. And this daylight dropping is gonna really push them out of the sky. They're gonna want to be on somewhere before before the rain comes, before it gets dark. So we'll check back here after a little while. While we wait on the bees, come out here and check on the cows. Beautiful sunset. Don't run from the camera.
Off for the camera, June.
Sweetie's bagging up pretty good, so been checking on her 2 or 3 times a day, making sure she doesn't, once she starts separating herself, then we'll know she's getting really close. But Beautiful sunset. Waiting on the bees to get in the box. I keep talking about in my videos about my sunflower fields with these bees. So if you guys watched me, look at this sunset. If you guys watched me plant sunflowers with my grandpa's old tractor, here it is. We got some of them that are, most of them are waist high, but we got some that are chest high, and they're real close to starting to head out. So there's already a handful of them out here that are starting to open up, but next couple days we're gonna have 10 acres of sunflowers right here, and then another 4 acres up by the road. So the bees are building for this right here. And I'm building up for some dove hunting and some chicken feed. And the sun is really bright. There's a big storm over here working its way this way, but never been so excited for something I've planted. Well, we're back here at the barn. I think most of them are in the box. Some of them are wanting to go into the barn, but once they realize the queen is in the box, they'll all move out. So we'll check in with you guys tomorrow, see if they all got in there or not. I can let the queen go, and we're gonna get them moved over into our apiary. I'm gonna go get the stand and the other 2 Langstroth boxes tonight after dark, bring them over, get them ready for the sunflowers. You just saw them a couple days away. Welcome back. It's the next morning. We didn't get hammered by the storm, which thank goodness, but we went to our other yard, grabbed our 2 out of our 3 Langstroth boxes at the other yard, and got these that were over here by our barn. There's still a few bees over at the barn, maybe about 100 to 150 of them over there, trying to figure out where the rest of the hive went, I guess. But since we got the queen over here, they're gonna eventually come over here once they figure out she's not over there. So I'm gonna open up this box, get the queen out. I probably won't mark her today because she's in a clip and I don't want to run the risk of her flying away. I'm just gonna open the clip and let her get in. But let's dive in there. I'm going to put my gloves on and my jacket on, my veil on, just in case. I know I just told you yesterday that swarms are super chill, but now that they have a box here to live in, I just don't want them to start protecting it, because they don't have any resources in there, so they may get cranky. When a swarm decides to pick up and leave or split from their original hive, they gorge themselves with resources. So they'll drain the queen down, like I said yesterday, and gorge themselves with all their resources. So as soon as they get to where they're going to get, they're going to build as much comb as possible, as fast as they can, so the queen can start laying. That's their main objective, is to get that queen laying, so they can start building their population back up from traveling, and they got to get ready for winter, so they would need the numbers. So it hasn't been 24 hours yet. I'm going to pull a couple frames out and see if they got any, if they built off any of my starter strips making comb. With that many bees, they should be able to have built almost a full frame of comb here in the last, well, at least in 24 hours. Sure looks like a lot more bees when they're flying. But they're going to start building comb here, and I got the queen. And they're all right piled around her. Yep, she's still in here. They're going to follow wherever the queen is. And they're just going to pile on top of her. And they got to make sure she stays fed. So, I saw her in here a second ago. Let's pull up one of these frames here and see if they've made any progress. I doubt they're going to have too much built up. Yeah, they've already turned what was just a strip into partial comb. Let's see if I can find a better. So yesterday, what I did was I built a bunch of starter strips. I took some wax that Jorge rendered down from his hives, put it in a silicone mold, and just made these little strips. That way, the bees know where to start building their comb off of. And so I probably put together 60 some frames yesterday of comb. And you can see they're clinging right to that starter strip. Oop. It's hard to tell, but you can see they've already built it out about 1/4 of an inch from what it was. That was just a thin strip. A thin strip that you could see through. And they've already built it out 1/4 of an inch. So really, that queen will be ready to start laying in some of those pockets, or some of that comb. This frame, this frame here was just some old wax. They're going to rebuild it. This was an old frame that had collapsed or something. But they're rebuilding all that comb and making it into something usable. I'm going to see if I can't get the queen out of here. Alright. The queen is out. So. This is not their final home. This is just a temporary home until we can get more of Jorge's boxes built and ready. These are just kind of a stepping point. So I got the board out from underneath the bottom, so they have plenty of ventilation. And yep, successful swarm catch here at the house. And this wasn't even one of our hives. This was just a wild swarm coming through. Free bees. All of our hives this year are swarms. The very first hive is one of our hives we made through the winter, or we kept through the winter. I think hive 4 or 5 made it through the winter. But it was a really small hive, so we added a swarm to them to really bump up their numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have one over at the other place. We have caught 11 swarms this year. Last year, I think we only caught 3, and I thought that was a big year. 11 swarms. Awesome. Don't buy bees. You don't have to buy bees, people. Just go catch them. You can catch them at your own house. Apparently. That barn, when we first moved out here, I saw a couple bees going in and out of that spot at the barn. So I started tearing some boards off and I found some old comb. And I thought that was interesting. So that was before we had bees, before I met Jorge. And I was like, you know, that's kind of cool. There used to be bees here. And then as I got more and more involved in bees and knowledgeable about bees, realized that comb puts off a lot of smell. So any bees that come moving through trying to find a place to live will obviously try to live in a place that already been established by bees because there's already comb there. So the queen could just start laying right into that old comb and they could fix it up and make it usable. Now, the right thing to do is to tear that corner of the barn out and then strip all that wax out, and that'll keep the bees from coming in. It's people that do cutouts of houses. Like if you don't get all that comb and wax out of there, it's going to smell like bees forever, and it really is going to smell like bees forever. So if a swarm moves into a spot once, they're probably going to do it multiple times. I mean, you're probably going to have bees year after year trying to get into that spot because it smells like bees. I didn't tear all that stuff out because of this exact reason. If a wild swarm comes through and they're looking for a place, then I can hopefully catch them before they move into that barn. Last year I used to keep one of my swarm traps hanging in a tree back here behind the behind the apiary, just in case a wild swarm came through, or for some reason one of my hives decided to swarm. They had a place to go. We get into our hives every other week, so we don't really run into the issue. We'll know before they start swarming if they're going to swarm, and they're right here out of our house. I can look out of my kitchen window and see all the hives. If a bunch of bees are piled on the front, then it's time to split. But we haven't had to split this year. I say a split as in like taking half your bees, essentially like a swarm, and moving them into another box. We did pull some frames and build up these other small swarms that didn't have enough frames. We took some frames from others and moved them around to kind of make like a mini split. But yeah, I have one more Langstroth box down in the garage that I could put a swarm into if we do catch another one. And then I still have the one over there. Once I fill that 5th box, Langstroth box, then I'm just going to stop catching swarms this year and wait till I get some more boxes from Jorge. I think he's building some as we speak these next couple days. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I wasn't expecting to make this video, but when you got a swarm coming through, you got to take advantage of it. So next week we spin honey. I don't know when you'll see this video, but we got honey coming for you guys. So until next time, don't haggle with your honey supplier. Buy your honey local. Support your local beekeeper. We'll see you guys on the next one. We love you guys. Forgot to mention, we have a Amazon link at the top of the description of this video and every video we've ever made that has our Amazon affiliate link. So if you're interested in anything you see here I use on the farm, has to do with chickens, pigs, butchering, beekeeping, coops, incubators, all that stuff that I've bought on Amazon or even on Temu. I found an Amazon product that's the same as it was on Temu, and I put it in there. So if you guys are interested in something, if you don't see it in our Amazon link, comment down below. I'll go find it on Amazon and put it in our affiliate link. And if you guys buy it through that link, then we get a little bit of a cut on it. So we appreciate you guys doing that. But yeah, I think that's everything. I'm sure there's something I'm gonna forget. Anyway, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Doesn't cost you anything. We'll see you guys.